Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Rowdy Inc., the channel all about bringing you as much nerdy content as possible. Today for you, I'm going to finally get that Darknix review video out for you. I've been sick for about 2 weeks now and have barely been able to talk. So this is the first day I'm really feeling good. So I'm going to get this video and cover him for you like I promised. So if you're new to the channel, make sure you give us a like the video and subscribe if you like the content. And I have a Patreon now, so if you really want to see more content and get me posting even more videos and even more often, then consider liking or going to Patreon and supporting me there. But without further ado, let's get into this review. Alright, so first of all, just give you the basics here. The light darkness, right? So he's an attack type. He's light attribute, of course, and he's one of the legend dragons. So he's a Nat 5. If you saw the video where we pulled him, it was pretty awesome. Took a lot of diamonds, a lot of diamonds. So it'll probably be a little bit before I can build up. I'll at least like to get 20,000 diamonds again before I do another video like that. So look at this guy. I mean, he looks awesome. So this is, of course, his adult dragon form. His little baby dragon here still looks cool. I mean, I like all three stages here. Um, cool effects and stuff. I like the color combination that they did for him with the light blue. Uh, he's probably one of my favorite dragons right now, and partially because of the looks, but also because he is a beast. He does so much damage. It's ridiculous. So, and let's see why he does all that damage. Alright, so his leader skill right here is all ally critical rate up by 31%. So, I mean, that right there in itself is solid. 31% crit rate. There's no leveling it up. It's just a level 1 skill, but wow, 31%. Right now, I've actually been I changed up my tamer, so now I've got the passive crit rate up tamer. Who I forget his name. He's the guy with the black hair and the spell book in his hand. And yeah, so I'm critting constantly if he's my leader. Sometimes he's not my leader, but if I do the gold dungeon, wow, it makes a world of difference. I've literally gone up like another million just by making him my leader. So it's definitely pays off for situations like that where all you need is just raw damage. He's a pretty solid choice. If you have him, I would definitely set him as the leader for the gold dungeon. All right, so his main attack here, launch wave of aggression to inflict damage. A critical hit will multiply damage by 1.8, and this is at level 1. So um, if you increase it, if you can look at the bottom there, if you get him all the way to level 5, skill damage increased by 50% here. So this does so much damage. So critical hit, right? So if you set him as your leader, like I was saying, and I changed up my tamer to give me even further crit rate, so that way I don't have to rely so heavily on the crit rate runes. I could actually run some crit damage runes if I need to, so that way it'll help. So that way I'm not going overboard, right? I don't need, 140% crit rate if I'm running him and the tamer. I don't need to run so many crit rate runes. I can run more crit damage runes and then just heighten his damage even that much more. So it does a lot. It's a line attack here, straight line, and it hits only 3 enemies, and it's not a huge like wide berth attack. It is pretty narrow as far as the line attacks go, but it does a lot of damage. He's probably my highest damage right now, and because I was running the jet dragon, and he does the line attack as well. But this guy, he just started outperforming him so much better than even before I started throwing runes on this guy or anything. I was just leveling him up, just farming, and he was starting to do more damage than my jet dragon. So just be on the lookout for that. He'll probably start passing up a lot of your other attackers pretty quickly. Alright, his first passive here, every set duration, inflict damage to enemy at the front. So every 10 seconds he'll do automatic damage to the front enemy. On critical hit, damage is multiplied So again, we got that. And if you increase the skills, you do more damage here. So skill damage increased by 50% at max level. Um, Again, you need to be doing critical hits with this guy because all of his skills rely. If you're not doing crits, you're not seeing the benefit of him. All of his skills rely on doing critical hits. So make sure that is your focus with this guy, and then do crit damage second. Okay. And so it only does it to the front enemy, right? So the benefits of this, where you really start to see this shine, is in your dungeons when you're fighting bosses, right? So normal campaign stuff, because they fly around back and forth a lot, and the lesser enemies will get in the way, and so every 10 seconds you can't really time that out to go off right when the mini boss is in front. So if you're fighting solo targets, you really start to see this benefit. So your Nightmare dungeon, that's a good one. Again, going back to the gold dungeon, that's a great one because there's only the one enemy and that's all you fight. So he'll just consecutively hit him over and over and over with his skill. So that's where this passive really starts to see its benefits. His second passive here is every set duration, so every 20 seconds, inflict damage to enemy with lowest HP. Inflict 1.5 damage to enemies below 50% of their HP. And again, you can increase that all the way up there and doing crazy damage. So every 20 seconds, again, if you're fighting single target enemies, then that is going to go and hit them every single time. So you're going to have both of your passives hitting the same guy back to back. So every 20 seconds and every 10 seconds, just getting nailed by your passive skills. So that is a perfect combination there. And lastly here, his upgrade to his first skill here. Once you open this up, it does Cleansing Wave has a 60% chance to weaken the target's defense for 30 seconds. So in combination with your Cleansing Wave here, this is your main attack. So if you can spam this, then you're going to lower it for 30 seconds, his defense for 30 seconds. So the starter Light Dragon that you get, right, his main skill is it's a 2 mana cost, and it sends out all the swords around, and that lowers the target's defense for every hit that it does, right? Well, this kind of just makes him null and void now. He's more of a tank, but Darknix is a straight-on attacker. So if you're just spamming this one skill, you're going to be dropping his defense and doing just your massive amount of damage. So if you make sure you line those your attacks up, so you're going to target count of 3, right? So you need to make sure try to get 3 hits, at least 2. I wouldn't even consider firing it for just 1 hit on a boss. But unless they don't have another option, right? So if you're fighting one of the bigger dragons that has to have multiple shots, then yeah, you want to get as many as you can. But on other things like the gold dungeon, you gotta only get your 1 hit. But lowering the target's defense for 30 seconds, and this cooldown is 32 seconds. So soon as he gets his defense back, boom, you just fire it again and drop his defense. So all your other guys that are going in and swarming with all their attacks, just their basic attacks, then they don't even need to worry about anything because he's doing massive amount of damage and he's debuffing your target there. So it is a 3-cost skill, but you're getting multiple benefits from it. So you're doing crazy damage and you're also lowering the defense. So 60% chance, I mean, that's solid. I mean, it's better than 50-50, so more times than not, it should be hitting and lowering the defense. So in a fight that takes 2 minutes, that's 4 attempts there to lower the defense. All right, so you should be able to figure out kind of how to rune this guy, if not by just what I was saying. But we'll go in and just take a look at my current rune setup on mine. I don't have the best runes. I haven't really farmed great runes for him yet. He's actually a little over the top. So he's at 73% naked, right? So without his leadership skill and without the benefit of my my tamer currently. So With the combination of those, because his leader skill is what, 31%, and my tamer does. Let's see, what does he do? He does 15% currently. Could probably enhance that one more time or so. Yeah. So 15.6% increased crit rate from my tamer as well. So that is over 45% increased crit rate. So way more than what he needs. So what I need to start working on now is how I've got his rune set up. I could probably drop one of these sets of crit rate, the purple runes here, for one of these crit damage sets. So it's only a set of 2, so I can drop 2 and then add in 2. So I'll lose 12% crit rate, but I'll gain 20% crit damage, which will, I mean, that's going to amp up our damage considerably. So that's what I would probably recommend, is start out with just your crit rate runes until you can get him leveled up enough, or if you're willing to switch up your tamer to run the crit rate tamer, then you would probably want to run maybe 4 crit rate runes and then 2 crit damage runes. All right, just as your sets here. For your stats here, so I went with just straight up attack percentage on that first one. The reason for this is his skill, right? You're gonna want to spam that skill, and the Swift runes just aren't gonna benefit you enough with that. So Swift runes or just attack speed in this first slot, I feel like you could probably just skip over that because your basic attack isn't where he shines, right? Where he shines is his passive skills, right? So doing that damage every 10 seconds, that damage every 20 seconds, that's automatic. Your Swift runes here and your attack speed, that's not going to change that. Same with your bigger skill, right? How often you use that, that's not going to matter for your attack speed. So I just went with straight up attack percentage because that's going to benefit your passives. It's going to benefit your main attack that you're going to be using every chance you get. So every 32 seconds you're using his skill. So attack percentage is probably the better way to go there. All right, for the mid slot here, again, I went with crit rate, just because I wanted to try to amp up his crit rate to the maximum as well as I can. Like I said, I don't always run him as my leader. It just depends on the situation I'm in. I probably will start running him as the leader more until I can get a better option, just because that crit rate benefits so many of my dragons here. So right now I have been just running the smart dragon as my leader because he gives that blanket nice defense for all my dragons. So the ones up front are just taking all the hits, while the ones in the back are doing all the damage. I could probably even drop one of my support dragons, so my other light dragon, I could probably drop him in favor of another DPS dragon, so 3 DPS, and then use my healer as one of my tanks, and then just a straight up tank on the bottom as well. So kind of just covering multiple ways of doing things. That's a different kind of topic of strategy though. So, but crit rate there is pretty solid. Even if I was to change out a crit damage rune, I don't think I would want to change out the crit rate here just yet, unless I had solid substats of crit rate. So going back to these other ones here, so my first rune only has like a 1% crit rate bonus, so not really a whole lot of anything. It does have a nice crit damage of 5%, which is, reasonable. I haven't really farmed too many runes for him. I got just a solid set of crit rate that I was happy with for while I was leveling him. Again, crit rate, crit damage. If you can get both of these on one rune, that's probably your best bet. So again, crit rate, crit damage here, 7%. That's pretty good. And again, these are just normal runes. I mean, these aren't even really rare. I mean, that one's rare, but these are all just normals. I haven't even got to that point of farming the really good stuff yet. But so yeah, crit rate there. Probably would stick with that overall. If I got the crit rate up high enough with substats and everything, I could probably change that out for crit damage. That rune's pretty garbage overall. I mean, it does I mean, 6% attack speed. Well, it's okay, and it gives him a little bit more survivability. But I don't really need a building for that. He's going to be in the back of the group anyways. So if I could get a better rune on him for that, like crit damage right there. Yeah, attack percentage. So probably after this video, I'll probably go and level this rune up and see what I get out of it to see if I can replace this one. And then in the back, again, just attack percentage again. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't change it. So crit rate, again, if I could have got crit rate and crit damage both, again, that's the better option. So yeah, that's about it for his runes here. Overall, I think he's pretty solid where he's at. He could be a little bit better, a little more optimal, just with that 73% crit rate. As is, I could probably change these runes out and give him a little more crit damage. It's only 69%. And we'd really want to buff that up as much as possible because he's going to be critting every time as it is. So might as well make him do more damage since he's going to be critting so much. Also, I haven't really pointed this out in any of my other videos yet, but if you look over here, there's a team bonus icon. You can click that, and it'll actually show you how you can get more bonuses with a certain combination of dragons, right? So, like if you run 4 lights all on one, 4 light dragons in one team, you can get damage inflicted to dark enemies is increased by 5%, and damage taken is decreased by 5%. So you know how lights and darks, they get advantage on each other, so they do more damage against each other. Well, if you run a full team of light, then you kind of reduce the negative portion of that. So while you're critting on them more, they're also doing more damage on you, so it doesn't really balance out that much. But if you can reduce the damage you take and further increase the damage they take, then you really start to see the benefits more. Predatory formation, 2 or more attack dragons, plus 15% HP, and light and darkness. I don't have this dragon yet, so the god dragon. So I can't run this one if I wanted to. And then if you click over here, you can see the team bonuses. So certain dragons, if you use in combination together, they'll get these benefits, right? So if I run these 2 guys together, I get plus 15% attack percentage. And you can just scroll down and look at all the different combinations you can do. So pretty cool, pretty useful. And it's not just, if you click on team bonus anywhere, you can just see, basically gives you a lowdown of all the different options here. Again, here's our dragon right here, the light darkness with that. So this is the one you've clicked on for Darknix himself, and then this is just all the different team options that are out there. Super cool. If you've got the set of dragons to run these teams, then it might really benefit you to run them in these formations, just for the added bonus. I mean, duration of dragon's recovery reducing effect is increased by 40%. That's a big jump, 40% there. So that's a cool one. I love the Darknix series. Unfortunately, only light and dark, but I mean, whatever. I'll take it. But yeah, overall, super happy with this guy. He's definitely my favorite for the time being. If we pull anything better, then maybe it'll change. But for now, I don't see that happening. I need to evolve him one more time. I've been so focused on leveling him that I forgot to farm my high tier light energy when the day came. So that was my bad on that. So I don't have his last skill unlocked where it lowers the defense. So I know I'm such a noob, but we'll get there. But if you liked the video, again, make sure you give us a like and subscribe to the channel, so that way I'll be producing more content for you. I like to review some of these other dragons that I've got, especially like the ones you start with. I've kind of covered the smart dragon already, but some others of these beginners, like however you say this guy, Saitael. He's one of your starters. I'd like to cover him, and this guy here. I'm not sure if everyone starts with him or not, or maybe that was just my pull. But he was also one of my first, so I'd like to cover him as well. He's pretty cool. But that'll be for future videos. If this one goes over well, I'll try to do more of these individual videos for all the different dragons out there. It'll definitely take some time to cover all of them, but having that information out there just seems really beneficial. So with that, we'll see you next time.